Being a political journalist, the standout event and image of the week for me has to be when Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee put on her lawyer's hat, so to speak, and decided to voice her angst against the Election Commission in the country's highest court. Now, before some of you roll your eyes and say that there has to be a typical politician's drama, let me tell you why I think this is a clever political move and why, more importantly, this contains some key lessons for other politicians. First, if you're unaware of what I'm talking about, let me bring you up to speed. We all know that opposition parties have been fighting a legal and political fight against the Election Commission for trying to quickly revise voters' lists in election-going states like Bengal, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu, an exercise the Commission is trying to undertake in a couple of months, but which in the past has taken much longer. It first happened before elections in Bihar, and the India Alliance claimed that it's the reason why they lost the election so badly. However, their complaints didn't really resonate on the ground, and even though thousands of voters had to rush back home to make sure their names weren't struck off the list, and even though the opposition kept insisting that the BJP was controlling the Election Commission, the opposition's legal fight led to changes in the EC's work. They accepted Aadhaar. But politically, SIR or Special Intensive Revision was considered a flop issue till this week. So Wednesday was meant to be a routine but important hearing. February 14th is when Bengal's new revised voter list is meant to come out, and so Bengal's lawyers, Abhishek Manu Singhvi, Kapil Sibal, were meant to argue their case against what they said were unfair methods used by the Election Commission. Things like why were official orders sent by WhatsApp, why Bengal was targeted and not Assam, even though both were headed to elections, and other such important questions. But just a day before, suddenly word got out that Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee was going to appear as a lawyer in court. Now, this was a first. No Chief Minister before Mamata had come to argue a matter themselves. They would just hire the best of lawyers, which she also had. But the Chief Minister had the idea that at this stage, just months before her state went to polls, she needed to go and make the case herself. She already had a law degree, so why shouldn't she use it? Now, you have to understand that this was a huge gamble. First of all, she was appearing in the Chief Justice of India, Justice Surya Kant's court. And anyone who follows legal cases knows this could go any which way. All judges are mercurial, or we know of judges that are mercurial, and one of the judges on the bench could have just dismissed it as a stunt, or they could have made a stray comment that goes against her or Bengal, and that for her politically would have been disastrous. So what is established is that the West Bengal Chief Minister took a chance and it paid off. Why do I say it paid off? Even though there was no major order, but just a notice to the Election Commission asking them to address some of her issues. Well, because Banerjee got to make her points in a precious 15-minute speech. This wasn't a paid-for platform or a rally or her assembly. This was not her constituency. This was the Chief Justice of India's courtroom, where she was potentially surrounded by people who weren't even sympathetic listeners. It was a live telecast speech where Banerjee was surrounded not just by her top lawyers like Sham Devan, but also the ECI senior advocate Rakesh Dwivedi. Now, I spoke to one of the lawyers over there who said they were very hesitant and were totally against her appearance because lawyers don't like surprises. They don't like leaving it to chance. And they had a strategy to cancel EC's notices before the last date. And Banerjee kind of turned all of this upside down. But that's because Banerjee is a politician and she went by her political instincts. And the result is that during the 15 minutes, she was able to push all her big political points. She was able to call the EC a WhatsApp commission. And she was able to say that she was fighting for her people and not her political party. She even claimed she was bonded labor, which obviously isn't true. But because her speech was flowing, nobody in the courtroom argued with her on that point. Politics, as I've said before, is all about perception and not so much about facts. It's about the feels you give. And Mamata Banerjee's strategists must have been overjoyed at the sight of tough lawyers thronging in the court to see her, to take selfies with her. She also milked it by not taking any short route, but walking along the corridors and greeting everyone and then sitting in the visitors' gallery patiently before asking the bench permission to speak. As they say, ask and you shall receive, and the Chief Justice of India, Justice Suryakant, certainly delivered for Mamata. So, why did I say in the beginning of this video that this courtroom drama has lessons for the opposition? Let me explain. First of all, the biggest lesson is for the BJP in Bengal. Now, the BJP nationally is known to think on its feet, learn from its losses, and quickly implement changes. The Bengal elections are not far away, and my contacts in the party tell me that the BJP has done nothing new or out of the ordinary this term. They're not even fighting properly till now. They're all waiting to see what the SIR throws up for them. Contrast it with what Mamata Banerjee, who saw how change in the electoral rolls impacted people like Arvind Kejriwal in Delhi elections last year. And so she has been attacking SIR from various angles, including this latest courtroom attack since then. Appearing as a lawyer was a brand new idea, and the Bengal BJP badly needs some new ideas. But they aren't the only ones. When Mamata Banerjee was in the courtroom, the leader of the opposition was also agitating outside parliament. But while Mamata's message was focused, Rahul Gandhi's messaging was a little confusing. He was seen calling his former colleague Ravneet Bittu a traitor as a joke. That has had a mixed landing, as some would argue that Gandhi was better off being civil to him because in politics there aren't any permanent enemies and the road of return should always be left open even for leaders who have left the party. Not something that Gandhi subscribes to, obviously. The other lesson Gandhi could also learn is that both Banerjee and Gandhi are angry opposition leaders. They are both fighting a much bigger enemy, the BJP, and yet Banerjee is always able to come up with new ideas to go where no one else is going and to also fight. Only Gandhi's supporters will agree that he does the same. Arvind Kejriwal, M.K. Stalin, Tejashwi Yadav, all other opposition leaders could also learn from Mamata Banerjee. She never moved out from her tiny, middle-of-the-colony house in the last 15 years that she's been chief minister. She knows her cachet is that she's a woman of the masses. The ordinary people are her voters. And so she continues to dress and look like them all. Now, we don't know at all if this move, this courtroom counter, will eventually lead to her winning Bengal for the 4th time. But one thing is for certain. Her voters will never say that their Didi didn't fight with all her might to hang on to her seat.